US President Joe Biden called Monday for a war crimes trial over alleged atrocities in Bucha and vowed tougher sanctions against Moscow, as Ukraine's leader urged the world to acknowledge a genocide by Russian troops near Kyiv. Western leaders have united in outrage after dozens of bodies were found on the streets and in mass graves when Russian troops retreated from the devastated town near the capital, laying bare the horrors of a 40-day war that has killed thousands.
You may remember I got criticized for calling Putin a war criminal. Well, the truth of the matter, you saw what happened in Bucha. This warrants him, he is a war criminal. But we have to gather the information. We have to continue to provide Ukraine with the weapons they need to continue the fight. And we have to gather all the detail so this can be have a war crime trial. This guy is brutal. And what's happening in Bucha is outrageous. And everyone's seen it.
Genocide?
No, I think it is a war crime.
What are you going to do about it, sir? Are you going to do more sanctions on Russia?
I'm seeking more sanctions, yes. I'll have time to announce that to
Can you
you.
actually hold Putin accountable, though? You called him a war criminal.
He should be held
Can you actually
accountable.
hold him accountable without sanctions?
Well,
What
no,
else can you do?
Go the war crime tribunal. Yes, I'm going to.
Bombardments continued Monday, including in southern Mykolaiv, where officials said Russian strikes killed 10 civilians and wounded 46, as Kyiv warned that Moscow was shifting its military focus and preparing a full-scale attack in the country's east. With momentum building for a stiffer European Union response beyond already unprecedented sanctions over Russia's invasion, European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said the bloc was ready to send investigators to gather evidence of possible war crimes in Bucha. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy blames Russian troops for the killings, but the Kremlin has denied responsibility. These are war crimes and it will be recognized by the world as genocide, Zelenskyy said Monday as he visited the town, where the corpses, some with their hands bound behind their backs, were discovered over the weekend. We know that thousands of people have been killed and tortured with extremities cut off, women raped, children killed, he told reporters, wearing a bulletproof vest for a rare trip outside Ukraine's capital, and appearing visibly distressed. While Moscow suggested images of the corpses in Bucha were fakes, newly released satellite photographs by Maxar Technologies appeared to rebut such claims, and showed that bodies had been on the streets since mid-March when Russian forces controlled the town. A grisly new discovery, meanwhile, emerged in Bucha, as the bodies of 5 men were found in a children's sanitarium basement, described by the Ukrainian Prosecutor General's office as unarmed civilians, their hands tied, who were beaten and then killed by Russian soldiers. Moscow has sought a UN Security Council meeting on what its deputy ambassador to the body called a heinous provocation of Ukrainian radicals in Bucha. But Biden did not hesitate to call out Russian President Vladimir Putin over the killings. He is a war criminal, Biden told reporters at the White House. What's happening to Bucha is outrageous and everyone's seen it, he said, adding, we have to gather all the details in order to have a war crimes trial. The killings are likely to receive more international attention on Tuesday, when Zelenskyy addresses the Security Council's meeting on Ukraine, according to British diplomats. We dug a mass grave. While the horror in Bucha appeared undeniable, the scale of the killings is still being pieced together. On Sunday, Ukrainian Prosecutor General Irina Venediktova said 410 civilian bodies had been recovered in the wider Kyiv region after Russian troops withdrew. In Bucha, AFP on Saturday saw the bodies of at least 22 people in civilian clothes on a single street. The town's mayor said 280 people were buried in mass graves because they could not be laid to rest in cemeteries that were within firing range. Maxar released satellite images it said showed a mass grave located behind a church there. Before leaving, Russian forces refused to let residents bury the dead, municipal worker Serhiy Kaplechny told AFP. Eventually, they were able to retrieve the bodies, he said. We dug a mass grave with a tractor and buried everyone. Mariupol 90% destroyed. Russia has redoubled its efforts in Ukraine's south and east, including strikes Sunday on the strategic Black Sea port of Odessa, which Moscow said targeted an oil refinery and fuel depots. The mayor of Mariupol said Monday 90% of the southeastern city had been destroyed since being besieged by Russian forces, trapping some 130,000 residents who have not yet fled. Vadim Boychenko said plans to evacuate remaining residents from Mariupol, where authorities say at least 5,000 residents have died, were paused because of incessant bombings. Britain's defense ministry confirmed that recent Russian air activity had focused on southeastern Ukraine, and that Mariupol continues to be subject to intense, indiscriminate strikes. The White House, meanwhile, said Russia has withdrawn about two-thirds of the troops it had around Kyiv and is seeking to redeploy them to eastern and parts of southern Ukraine, in what is being seen as a substantial shift in strategy. Russia has tried to subjugate the whole of Ukraine and it has failed. Now it will attempt to bring parts of the country under its rule, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said. The United States said more sanctions on Russia would be announced this week, while the EU was urgently discussing similar steps. French President Emmanuel Macron, who spoke about very clear indications of war crimes, said new sanctions could target the country's oil and coal sectors. But Germany warned cutting off Russia's supply of gas to Europe was not yet possible, despite several EU countries pressing for the measure as necessary to face down Moscow. We have to cut all economic relationship to Russia, but at the moment, it's not possible to cut the gas supplies. We need some time, German Finance Minister Christian Lindner said as he arrived for talks in Luxembourg. Something terrible is coming. In the eastern city of Kramatorsk, women, children, and the elderly boarded trains Monday to flee the Donbas region, out of the path of Russia's advance. The rumor is that something terrible is coming, said Svetlana, a volunteer organizing the crowd. Local Governor Sergei Gade warned Monday on Telegram that Russian troops were preparing for a major attack in the Lugansk region inside the Donbas, urging a mass evacuation. Europe's worst conflict in decades, sparked by Russia's invasion on 24 February, has killed as many as 20,000 people, according to Ukrainian estimates. More than 4.2 million Ukrainians have fled the country, and about 6.5 million have been internally displaced, UN agencies say. The unstopped humanitarian envoy Martin Griffiths was expected in Kyiv after arriving in Moscow Sunday in an attempt to halt the fighting. And peace talks were scheduled to resume by video Monday.